Hi everyone, happy World Briefing Saturday. It is Saturday and that can only mean one thing, that this is your day, dear paid subscribers of World Briefing, for your exclusive weekly video from me. Well, I thought I'd kind of reward your loyalty, if I can put it that way, with this stunning view behind me. Cape of Good Hope, the almost southernmost tip of Africa. Earlier on, I think I have a photo of it, there is a large container ship going past, a reminder that when other waterways like the Suez Canal or others are blocked, or the Red Sea, ships have to take a detour and go around here. So it's a very, very important waterway. There was news earlier in the week around the time of the G20 that the head of the Navy of South Africa said basically there's so little funding going in that there's no way South Africa could ever defend itself. And that did not get a very good response from the minister responsible. But then you spend a little bit of time here and you wonder who's South African enemies. But I cannot say enough about this place, the friendliness of the people, the hospitality, the value for money, the scenes, the food, everything. A lot of boxes ticked here. And, there are problems, of course, but it is a country that you feel, as I've said on air, for South African and international media, you feel the updraft. You feel that this is a country on its ascendancy, where those of us who are from Canada, or my two colleagues over there Instagramming themselves, feel that we're in states that are failing. So I was on Metro Radio FM again with the lovely host Faith, and we spoke about the G20 in South Africa. And I don't know if I can play a clip here, but I spoke how proud I am of South Africans for standing up to Trump's Trumpster diplomacy, his tantrum diplomacy, swinging his tariff baton, swinging insults. The latest being that he's banning South Africa from attending the G20, allegedly for them acting badly, behaving badly, because they follow protocol, and they said, okay, you boycotted our summit here of G20 leaders, which was very successful. There's a final declaration agreed to by consensus, and said if you want us to hand over the G20 presidency, you have to physically come here, but you have to do it on the level of president to president or something like that. They wanted to send a charge from the U.S. Embassy to attend the closing ceremony and do it that way. Well, they said no, and they did absolutely the right thing. I told Metro FM. Look, the one thing I have to say here is I very, very much sympathize with South Africans, the way how rudely they've been treated by this administration. It's insulting, the accusations that have been leveled against South Africa, but also boycotting the summit and then changing their mind and wanting to come in with a low-level diplomat. As a Canadian, I can say I'm very proud of South Africa, the way they stood up to this bully. Mr. Lula from Brazil, we saw him walking past the other day, and he has stood up to Mr. Trump, and he has said, we will not fall for this bullying with this tariff baton, and we have to become more resilient. And I think that is going to be catching on. So they're being punished by the Trump administration, and I said on my interview on Metro FM 2, it's a very, very widely listened to radio station, so be it. And I thought during the G20 there are a lot of states, including my own Canada, that are probably huddling with each other saying, well, the buttering up to Mr. Trump doesn't work that very well. Look what we got out of it, or didn't get out of it. So maybe we should follow the lead of Mr. Lula of Brazil and stand up to a very erratic, a very bullying President Trump. So stay tuned for more on that. I think it's actually going to happen. And, maybe some leaders will look at South Africa and say, yeah, they did the right thing. Of course, there may be short-term pain. And I said to the South Africans, you know what? Boycott the circus that's going to be in Miami. And the other thing that this idiotic behavior from Washington does, it, I think, nudges countries like South Africa and others into the arms of the BRICS bloc of nations. Russia is in there, and into other fora, into the arms of the Chinas of the world, Indias of the world, to a certain extent Russia. And is that what America really wants? It's a sad day, and as one of the CNN hosts said, which I agreed with him when we were being interviewed live, he said, it's unfathomable, isn't it, that these days, you know, what is supposed to be the leader of the free world is acting in this particular way, and I totally agree with that. The other big event happening a bit closer to here than Ukraine or North America is that tragic fire in Hong Kong, 4 apartment blocks, more than 100 killed, probably more bodies to be found. Authorities are blaming flammable materials, bamboo scaffolding and other materials that were used, single pane windows for the high death toll. But also, according to New York Times reporting, housing authorities were warned that there's substandard fire protection, things like that. They weren't listened to, and this, you know, this is significant because in China and elsewhere, protest movements have been triggered by events like this when people get fed up, and they say the authorities aren't listening to us, and it ended up very, very tragically. So I'm not going to speculate, but watch that space. Finally, of course, one of the biggest bombshells of the week was the shock resignation of the number 2 in the Ukrainian government, really, Andriy Yermak, chief of the presidential administration. He's been aside Mr. Zelensky from before the war, referred to as I referred to in my war briefing, the Great Cardinal. Let's see what happens now. Zelensky is in a bit of a vacuum now because it was such a tightly controlled circle, micromanaged, power centralized in the presidential administration that no one really knows who could replace Yermak. And Zelensky is basically untested as a kind of solo president because they were attached like Siamese twins, these two. Yermak represented the president in many, many places. So can Zelensky do this himself for a while, or would he be in free fall? We just don't know. We'll see. But the good piece of news is there are very, very good candidates, ranging from the former Ukrainian ambassador to D.C., Oksana Makarova, to former Foreign Affairs Minister Dmytro Kuleba. Either of them would be fantastic. So let's see what happens there. But this is something that comes off the back of that terrible corruption scandal, $100 million at least, money that was siphoned off for materials designed to protect the power infrastructure. Disgusting. And it reminded me that, yeah, the rich are getting richer in Ukraine. A lot of them have avoided military service. This is a war that has fallen very heavily on the shoulders of the middle class in Ukraine. Very, very sad. I hope these people, these scumbags responsible, get the maximum penalties. But Yermak had to resign, by the way, because his home was searched by anti-corruption agents, indicating that he's a suspect. If he wasn't a suspect, or if he's not a suspect, this corruption was so widespread, such big money. If he didn't know about it, he should have. So now Zelensky has to say, really, the buck stops with me, not with my deputy. Finally, with the way the peace proposal, 28-point so-called peace proposal is going, I think there's going to be a lot of theatrics, sideshows, back and forth, talks here, talks there. But at the end of the day, the Russians are going to wait it out. They're going to delay. They're going to wait for Ukrainians to get tired, allies to get tired. It isn't looking good. It is not looking good. That proposal, in the shape it was first in, and no Ukrainian president can sign it. I think I'll leave it at that, and I'm going to leave you with some video to enjoy this beautiful, beautiful scenery it just takes your breath away and reminds us that there are beautiful, peaceful places in the world. It reminds us that, nature is so beautiful, we have to protect it. And we're in a protected nature reserve right now. It kind of encourages you to redouble your efforts to protect the planet. So hope that gets out there a bit. Have a great week, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you next week, if not sooner.